Have you ever felt like the world was closing in on you, like the colors were slowly draining away, leaving everything in shades of gray? That's where Leo was. Just a few months ago, his life was vibrant. He had a job he loved, a partner he adored, and a small, cozy apartment filled with laughter and sunlight. Then, in a single gut-wrenching moment, it was all gone. A sudden layoff, followed by a painful breakup, felt like a one-two punch that knocked the wind right out of him. The laughter was replaced by an echoing silence, and the sunlight seemed to stop at the window pane, refusing to enter. Days blurred into a monotonous cycle of waking up late and staring at the ceiling. His once passionate project, a half-finished canvas in the corner, gathered dust. Friends called, but their voices sounded distant, like they were speaking a language he no longer understood. He'd scroll through old photos, a bittersweet torture, seeing a version of himself that felt like a stranger. Each memory was a pinprick, a reminder of what was lost. He'd try to apply for jobs, but the rejection emails piled up, each one a confirmation of his deepest fear, that he was failing, that he was stuck. The grey was becoming overwhelming, a thick fog that made it hard to breathe, hard to see any way out. Hope felt like a luxury he couldn't afford. One rainy afternoon, while rummaging through a box of old things he planned to throw away, his fingers brushed against a worn-out ticket stub. It was from the first concert he and his ex had ever attended. A wave of sadness washed over him, sharp and familiar. He was about to crumple it up, to toss it into the trash with everything else. But he paused. He remembered the music, the feeling of being in a crowd of thousands, all connected by a single melody. He remembered the sheer joy of that night. It wasn't just a reminder of his loss, it was a reminder of his capacity for joy. A tiny, almost imperceptible spark ignited in the cold emptiness. It wasn't much, but it was something. The next day, instead of staying in bed, Leo put on his running shoes. He didn't have a plan. He just ran. He ran until his lungs burned and his legs ached. The physical pain, a welcome distraction from the emotional turmoil. When he finally stopped, gasping for air in a park he'd never been to before, he saw a group of people painting by the lake. He watched them for a while, their brushes dancing across their canvases. He thought of his own dusty easel at home. The spark flickered again, a little brighter this time. He went home, not with a sudden burst of inspiration, but with a quiet decision. He walked over to the forgotten canvas, wiped off the dust, and picked up a brush. He didn't know what he was going to paint. He just mixed some Caleza deep, melancholic blue and a stark, empty white. As he started to paint, he didn't try to create something beautiful or perfect. He just poured all of his grief, his anger, and his loneliness onto the canvas. Strokes of blue collided with flashes of white. It was messy, chaotic, and raw. But then, almost without thinking, he reached for a tube of yellow. He added a small, hesitant splash of color in the corner. It looked out of place against the storm of blue and white, a tiny sun trying to break through the clouds. He kept painting, adding more yellow, then orange, then red. The canvas transformed. It was no longer just a portrait of his despair. It was a story of a battle, a struggle between darkness and a desperate, defiant light. Looking at the finished piece, Leo didn't feel fixed. The pain hadn't magically vanished, but for the first time in a long time, he felt something other than numb. He saw his journey on that canvas, the storm he was still navigating. But he also saw that splash of yellow, the concert ticket, the run in the park, the simple act of picking up a brush. He saw hope. The future was still uncertain, and he knew there would be more storms to face. But the grey had started to recede, making way for colour. He had found a way to paint his own sunrise. Life wasn't about avoiding the darkness, but about learning to find the light within it. And for now, that was more than enough. Thank you for watching.